Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, October 13th, 2016 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I nurture equanimity. And I want to talk just a minute about equanimity because I kept hearing it as I'm looking at the astro, transits. Equanimity. And I hear it in Deepak Chopra's voice, of course. And equanimity means like a sense of stability, sense of composure within yourself. But as I decided to look it up because I was like, what else is there? Because this isn't just about composure. I feel like there's something more. And it says that in Hinduism, equanimity it relates to Brahman, which is absolute reality. And to me, it's this energy, I guess, of boundedness. And that immediately was like, oh, yeah, this is about the soul, that light within you that's real, that bounded divine masculine feminine energy, the universe that is what our soul, our soul is a part of the all that is. So there's that energy, that equanimity of the masculine and the feminine, divine masculine, divine feminine within us and finding that balance. And it's so interesting with the astro today because there's actually an emphasis on more of what's considered masculine energy. We've got Mars. And I don't want to say that any planet is more masculine or feminine because I think, like everything else in the universe, it's all an intermixture, mingling of, the all that is, which we've just categorized into these energies. However, we're going to go with the masculine energy with this Mars energy because I'm really getting this so strong through this whole reading. We have Mars reaching 11 degrees. So 11 degrees, that degree of healing, of mastery. And it's so interesting because 11 degrees to me is such a degree of balance. It's such a degree of reflection. And Mars today at 11 degrees is meeting up with the moon and then also meeting up with Mercury. So the emotional side of things and then the mental side of things are meeting and mixing and mingling with Mars at 11 degrees. And what I'm getting, this is actually feeling really important as we build to this full moon in Aries. The full moon in Aries, what came through is part of this full moon energy is the liberation of the warrior. And I think that's what we need from the masculine energy within all of us, male or female, whatever you consider yourself in the spectrum. We are needing to bring forth the heart-centered warrior. I was going to say, how do I say equanimitous, balanced, composed warrior from within ourselves. This full moon, I'm getting a feel that is part of bringing forth that warrior energy in a new way into this world. But first, we have to go through this healing process with this. And this, to me, is what today is about in this energy. The moon connecting to Mars. The moon in Pisces. The moon in Pisces, which is taking us into that element of the all that is. The element that goes deeper. The element that reminds you of your divinity. So the moon connects first with Mars, and then Mercury comes in a little bit later. Mercury comes in and brings, again, that mental component, like I said, but brings in like, hey, do you recognize such an interesting, like it's one of those things, like I get an image of like, you looking at a mirror through a mirror and you just keeps going in, like the masculine and the feminine and the feminine and the masculine. So I've been saying we need the masculine to come forward to help the feminine come forward, to bring forth that energy. Well, with this Mercury connection, one of the things I heard with one of my cards, several of my cards, but especially the Bridget card that I pulled, is we actually need the feminine energy to step up today. The feminine energy in us all to step up and bring life into the male, masculine, warrior energy that's wanting to be healed in all of us, male and female. And so that Mercury energy is going to come in and shift that. Now, what I like is that the other connections that are happening today, the moon's going to connect with Pluto and the moon's going to connect with Saturn. I think all of these connections are helping us work with that energy and bring this healing into this energy. I think that square between Mercury and Mars is going to show us where that hang-up is. And the hang-up is in how we're thinking of it. We are putting it in too many boxes. And we have to come back to the spirit of Brahman. We have to come back to the spirit of equanimity. That it's not about what's going on outside of us. It is about coming in and doing, nurturing this work within. What does your masculine energy look like when it is in its full warrior? This doesn't mean going out, slashing things with a sword. Your full warrior may be strong, silent, standing there, allowing the feminine energy to speak, to communicate. Your warrior energy may be tending to farm animals. There's so many ways this could show up. Tending to farm animals. I just pictured somebody shearing a sheep, so that's what came up. But you have to recognize for yourself and show up for yourself. We want the masculine energy in the world to change. We want the feminine energy in the world to come forward in another way. But this comes back to you. This comes back to what is real. And what is real is within you. Now, these other aspects that are happening, we have the moon in Pisces taking us into all that is, taking us into the universe, taking us into our intuition, is going to be squaring Saturn. Again, here we have this mind game, like this game where you're like, but I'm not really sure. This isn't exactly what I've been taught. This doesn't feel politically correct. This doesn't feel this. This doesn't feel that. We've got to get out of our heads. The North Node and the South Node are also playing their part in this. The South Node is conjunct the Moon. The North Node is opposite. And what this is taking me into is like part of what's unraveling at this time are these centuries, which I spelled with an S as I wrote this down. So I'm definitely breaking all the rules, spelling centuries with an S. I don't know what's going on in my brain, but it likes to break the rules sometimes. We are unraveling centuries of this conditioning, of these expectations we have had on how people need to show up in whatever their own equanimity, whatever their own balance, whatever their own personal soul light is supposed to do. This is not going to be based on books. It's not going to be based on anybody telling you what it's going to be. This is going to be about you breaking forth from all the shoulds and being like, this is my light. This is who I am. This is my warrior. This is my goddess. We are pleased to meet you. And showing up in that way. What I love is that the moon is sextiling Pluto today, 15 degrees. So there's that 6, there's that balanced energy of, the Libra balanced Venus energy asking us, like, are you matching? Are you mirroring? Yeah, we always are. We're always, always, always all mirroring everything. And so that moon sextiling Pluto is like, we are breaking through these old chains. We are bringing healing, but we're doing it by this place of equanimity. Come back into you. Come back into the Brahman. Come back into the universe within you. This is not about a mental game. We might make this a mental game, but this is about your truest nature. And I heard, again, the Mufasa voice, remember who you are. It's like Mufasa in the sky, asking us to show up in this spirit and heal this energy within us. Release these old expectations of how things are supposed to be. This is one of the big things that's holding us back right now, is we have these expectations of how things need to be. We've got to let go. I've got the totality card, which is the card of like letting go. Let go of what has been so you can step into this. We're getting ready for this really, really cool emerging. So the other cards that I have the balance card. And I read this the other day, but I'm going to read a little bit more of it today. The balance card. The lady in this picture consoles a man who is sad and lonely. The man's heart is full of unexpressed emotions, which at some point he is no longer able to contain. The tears flow and healing occurs. Regardless of whether you are male or female, this card mirrors what's happening energetically and emotionally inside of you. It represents your yang, masculine energy, and the healing that automatically occurs when you open your heart and allow feelings to flow through. There's no need to analyze. Have you noticed how many times it's been said in these things? This isn't about thinking. No need to analyze. Release what you feel. Be loving and gentle to yourself. This is a time to nurture you. This is where that feminine energy is coming forward. We must nurture those warriors within us that have felt... I think a big part of the warrior thing is that they've felt the expectations and they know that that's not who they are. And so they've been hiding because you're like, well... I think that the masculine should show up this way, and it's like, no, that's not how it's going to show up, and that's not how it's meant to show up. The other thing that I have is from the dreams card, waves of healing energy flow through you as you sleep. That's a huge part of this, is the letting go and the surrender. That's a big part of that Pisces energy. Let go and surrender to this energy. An issue which probably stems from past lives are being processed and healed in your dream state. So it manifests through unexplained negative feelings, self-doubt, irrational fear. The good news is that there's nothing you need to do. Be patient. Allow the process. Don't try to make sense of it. There's that again. Trust, because it'll soon be free of the negativity that has sabotaged your progress in the past. And then here, which is carrying us through, even as we surrender, even as we sleep, is the fiery feminine. We've been talking about this for days, like bringing forth the fires of the feminine. Bridget, inner strength is the fires of the feminine. It says your spiritual fire is growing within. Recognize the power of your soul that is greater than you think. You've come a long way since you began this journey. This is a powerful force within you, and you have the ability to create wonderful changes in your own life. So here's how the warrior is showing up. The warrior is not showing up in armor with shields and swords. The warrior is showing up right now with the fires of the soul. And that, I have to say, is pretty powerful. Call on the fiery goddess Bridget to light the way ahead. So, hopefully that made sense. Show up for yourself in the way that you're being asked to show up. That's what I think is the spirit of the masculine. It's like showing up, and then we bring forth the fires. So, work on that because, here comes this moon coming in, and it's going to be shaking some stuff up. Liberate yourself to show up for this process. That is it for today. If you'd like to book a reading, do that at GaiaBlooming.com or reach out to me on Facebook or whatever, and I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.